I am here with our good friend Shabir. We're going to be talking about, Shabir, your ideas on how to keep your body healthy, and I'm just going to talk about other things like working from home, getting into good practices, keeping our spirits up. But good morning, Shabir.
Morning.
You have just come back from America.
I have.
So you've been traveling since yesterday.
I've been out for the last 10 days.
You have. I'm very happy, by the way, that you've made that Jill, Jill and Shabir are really good friends of the Trinny community, and so it's incredibly lovely of you to come and give this chat today. So, what are we talking today exactly, Shabir?
Well, we're going to talk about how we're going to ensure that we can try and keep our bodies as healthy as is possible. So we're going to work on things, basic fundamental supplements that could help you. But of course, there's much more to keeping your body healthy. So we're going to talk about everything that else is how to have a routine at home, things like that.
So should we start with things that, many of you might be on a supplements routine already. I'm on one because Shabir has helped me be on a really healthy one for a few years now. So these are kind of things that you feel fundamental to keep up your immunity. We're going to talk about that.
I think people are throwing out articles and editorial pieces on supplements all over the place. And I think we should just decipher some of the things that are so important to keep our immune system up. Because after all, if your immune system's up, or if your immune system is functioning correctly, then hopefully we'll be able to tackle anything that's thrown at us, at our bodies.
Okay.
So that's where
That's your fundamental belief, isn't it? And I know that
absolutely
you've
always
been
has been
very, very healthy for many years, Shabir. And I look at you and touch wood, but I look at you and I know that you follow quite a tight regime.
I do.
And I'm kind
every
of
day.
Every day. All right. So let's start with the basics that you suggest.
So our immune system. Okay. So we'll start off with why. Our immune system actually is probably the most complicated system in our body. For example, if you take just the thyroid gland, so say you have a thyroid removal, or you've had a thyroid removed, you can substitute with levothyroxine and things like that. But our immune system is actually a complex structural system. So you've got the thymus gland, the tonsils working in there, you've got all the hormones that interplay, you've got all the white blood cells that need to be produced, you've got probiotics that work on the immunity. It's a whole series of events that take place that eventually lead us to a healthy immune system. It's not just
one thing.
It's not just one thing. It's not just simplistic in its nature at all. So in order to support the immune system, we have to tackle nutrition starting fundamentally from a good diet.
All right.
I mean, let's face it.
What's important to be eating right now?
I think a sensible diet would include protein, for sure, because you need your protein to produce your white blood cells and everything else. You need all your variety of greens and your variety of fruits as well. Not just from the vitamin C point of view, from all the phytonutrients that foods provide for you.
There might be a stage where, I'm just going to throw this in now, where it's harder to get a few elements of food. So to me, this is why it's even more important to be having some supplements that provide what we can't get.
Of course, I mean, currently we're facing this dilemma where supermarkets haven't got some of the basic things that we require. And yes, there will come a point in time where I think, supplementation is going to be the key. But it's in addition to your diet, wherever possible. Wherever possible.
Okay.
So bearing in mind that nutrition is so important to keep your immune system up, I think fundamentally we need to start off with a good multi-nutrient product. So not just a multivitamin, but something that goes way beyond a multivitamin. To that extent, I've got a drink. It's a powder.
Okay.
It's this one here. It's called Life Drink.
Life Drink. So why something like this?
Okay, so I'll tell you why it's something like this. When you look at the ingredients listing on it, you've got a whole series of herbs like nettle, kale, things like that. They're all there to provide you with the food state of multivitamins and minerals. Remember, we want to try and get our nutrients from foods wherever possible, but of course these are food states. So they supply you with the vitamins and minerals from your food, from the green foods. You've got a series of mushroom extracts. Now mushrooms are rich in beta-glucans, and beta-glucans we know work to signal white blood cells to go and attack cells, invading organisms. You've got probiotics in there. Probiotics manufacture antibodies so that when a foreign pathogen comes, like a virus comes into play, those antibodies attach to the virus so that the white blood cells know exactly what I'm going to attack.
Okay, so it's keeping our antibodies really
Yeah,
working
so you've
like a
got
good
you've got a
army.
whole series of a little bit of omega essential fatty acids, everything to do with supplying the body with nutrition is in this one pot.
So this could be the one thing, if you think
If
I'm
you're
on a
only
budget,
going
this
to,
could
if
be the
you're
one
only
thing you
going
take,
to take one thing, that would be the one that I
Okay.
would be thinking
All
in
right.
terms of.
Okay. And it could be some people at home have a mixture of the supplements you've said. We're going to talk about other ones too.
We will talk about other ones, but I think
like the fact this is like
yeah.
and a powder, which obviously is going to have better absorption.
Listen,
or
you
not?
you can make it into it's ready to be made into a smoothie or
Okay.
mixed in with orange juice and because it's food state, you're going to be able, your body's going to assimilate these a lot quicker than
I want to
anything else.
say that a few people are commenting on 1 meter distance at least. So I agree with that. I mean, I can be like this on camera, that's fine. My personal thing is that I feel, I mean, I'm going to say it. Should I say it?
Say it.
I feel a month ago I might have had it.
Okay.
I just do feel that. I was, the very beginning of February, I'm sure some of my followers know I had a dry cough. I had, and I don't know, but it could be a lot of us are thinking that, and it could be we're attributing the wrong symptoms, but I have very similar symptoms, like the end of January, month of February. But Shabir and I have, I don't know, I'm comfortable being like this with you. I feel he's the wellest person I could sit next to. So that we're going to continue that way, but I totally appreciate social distancing is something people are very concerned with, and that's, yeah. Okay.
I mean, I think the important thing is, you've got to be wary of obviously people, sneezing and sniffling and coughing and things like that.
Yeah.
So I understand that, and we are in unique circumstances at the moment. I think most of us won't possibly hopefully we won't face this again.
Okay, we're going to go on to the next thing that's important for us to do, Shabir.
So, look, numerous studies show that vitamin C works to shorten the duration of upper respiratory infections, so colds, coughs, etc. Numerous studies
How does
shows
it
that.
do that, Shabir?
Vitamin C seems to. We don't fully understand how it does that, but we do know that studies show that it does definitely reduce the duration of an attack or an infection. There are mixed studies with reference to prevention. So when it comes to prevention, some studies show that yes, it might work for what we call rhinoviruses and enteroviruses, which are affecting just our sinuses and things like that, but not necessarily for other viruses. No test has been done on vitamin C for coronavirus, for example, although there is a protocol currently where they're injecting vitamin C in China.
Into corona
into
sufferers.
Patients with corona sufferers.
Interesting.
And we're talking about a lot of grams. We're talking
Like 10,000.
No, we're talking 24 to 25 grams every few hours.
All right, so if I take 24 to 25 grams, so I take
That would
5,000
be, I think
milligrams, do I?
that would be done with a specialist rather than.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm just seeing, just to show how big an amount that is when Shabir is
That's
talking
big
about
when
that.
we're talking about the average supplement is between 500 and 1,000 milligrams, so we're talking about 50 times the dosage.
Okay, all right, but it's still important. So if we are taking a really good dosage of vitamin C, which one have you got there? Can we just show, or are you just saying general vitamin C?
There is a difference. There is a hell of a difference between vitamin C's
All right,
that are
let's
available
talk
on the
about
market.
that, because people might just say, I'm taking one, I don't need
Okay,
to.
so vitamin C traditionally is an acid. So you're talking about ascorbic acid. Our bodies work in an alkaline environment. So what happens is when we take an acid, the majority of vitamin C tends to pass out, which is why people complain many times about the fact that vitamin C gives them diarrhea or things like that, because it's an acid. It just acts as a laxative. So the majority of it passes out. This is slightly different. So what they've done with the acid is they've coated it in a what we call a fat, little tiny fat cellular structure. Yeah. And so that means that the vitamin C, the body doesn't recognize that it's an acid. So it gets into the gut, and from the gut it can pass into the bloodstream. So it's giving you almost 1,000 milligrams.
I mean, I've got to say the only reason I know this to be the case for me is I used to take a lot. I mean, I've always taken a tremendous amount of vitamin C, Shabir, but I'm going to stand a bit behind you. But I used to take the pills, and I would find, I'm going to be really slightly vulgar now, but I would find if I took too many, I did have that diarrhea and slightly sore around my bottom hole. And since I started taking liposomal, and you've given me a few, I feel so different taking them, and I don't feel that slight acidity in my tummy. So this is one you're saying.
Very high absorption. It's called Yozuki vitamin C, but it's actually liposomal vitamin C.
But we could be talking any liposomal you can get
any
your hands
liposomal
on.
you
This
can
just
get your
happens
hands
to be
on.
one you really
at the
like.
moment, I mean, you know, there are shortages obviously, but Yozuki is a great product.
Do you have this at Victoria Health?
We definitely have this at Victoria Health, and we know that this is made in Britain. It's being made as we speak.
Okay.
To
Fantastic.
cope with the demands.
So vitamin C, I'm just going to keep saying that Shabir and I want to do this for you. We are standing near each other. It's not that we feel invincible. I just feel it's important to do it. I feel that when people go on the live, they see me as well as Shabir. So that's why we're doing it. Great. Okay, Shabir, moving on. So we've talked about an all-over supplement. We will list these tomorrow, by the way, when people can might work on this tomorrow from home. And vitamin C. Next up, what's really important for us to do?
I think next up should be a quality probiotic. Now, I know we talked about the fact that the Life Drink had the probiotics in there, but I think for extra support, you would always consider a probiotic because we know that sort of a large chunk of our immunity arises out of the gut. So we know that probiotics work for digestion, they work for cholesterol, they work for mood. We've talked about this in our editorials before, in our videos, etc. But how do they work for digestion? How do they work for immunity?
Yes,
that's the question. So what a probiotic does is it produces antibodies, and these antibodies latch onto foreign bacteria, viruses, things like that, so that your white blood cells will then go and attack those specific ones. When we have a problem within autoimmune systems, for example, that's when the white blood cells attack everything else, including structures and everything else. So the importance of a probiotic is twofold. They produce these antibodies which are made from protein that attach onto the virus, and the probiotics also release a chemical that encourages the production of white blood cells. So you're talking about things that are going to engulf bacteria, but also identify which ones to engulf.
I mean, it sounds so much more important than I thought it was, Shabir. I'm going to show, this is one actually from Victoria Health. Can I just talk about dosage, Shabir? Because there are some people, I mean, I can be that person that thinks, oh, let me now double up. Because I'm nervous and I want to be having as much of this as possible.
Sure.
How do we monitor that, and what should we be doing?
I think with vitamins and minerals and vitamin drinks, etc., you should follow the recommended dosage, even though the recommended dosage is usually at least, you could easily double up if you so wanted to, because the recommended daily dosage is always kept at the minimum that is required for the body, but you can easily double up the dosage on most things.
Okay, great.
Certain vitamins, of course, things like vitamin B6, etc., you would worry about them. But overall, what we're talking about here, you could double up if you wanted to. Now, with the probiotic, there is absolutely no chance of really overdosing on them. Probiotics, we simply don't get enough. We tend to knock them out through our diet because a lot of things are sprayed with pesticides and things like that, which kill the bacteria. We also have a sugar-laden diet, which means that some of our pathogens in our gut, and we all have them, tend to thrive, so they knock out the bacteria in our gut.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, I would say a general thing I'm going to just mention about sugar, Shabir, because I've been off sugar for a week now, fully off sugar on every level. Apart from fruit, and I feel so much better. And I just know on a personal level, I feel very wary of giving any encouragement to inflammation in my body at this time.
Correct.
Is that,
well, sugar produces, the metabolism of sugar produces what we call H's, and they cause inflammation. So why?
Add to the inflammation, because then they're going to go and try and work on the inflammation, not work on the virus. Correct. One quick, I mean, I'm not going to take too many questions, but Claire says, can we take multivitamins as well as folic acid?
You can.
Okay, and how about ester C instead of vitamin, etc.?
Well, there's the difference. So ester C, as we said before, vitamin C is an acid.
Yeah.
Now, when you take ester C is what we call buffered vitamin C, so it's neutral pH vitamin C.
Yeah.
So that encourages high absorption, but once it's in the bloodstream, we are now waiting for the body to convert that non-acidic vitamin C back into its acid form. Is that conversion going to be effective? How many enzymes does that depend on? We don't know.
We don't know.
We simply don't know. We know that in the case of liposomal vitamin C, we're giving the body acidic vitamin C, which is what it requires.
One other quick thing is somebody has bowel reflux, or maybe they have bad
acid reflux or whatever.
Yeah, so would the vitamin C work as it's an acid? Would it make me feel worse?
The liposomal vitamin C is neutral pH. The vitamin C is actually acid, but it's coated on the outside.
Yeah.
So it's not going to cause reflux problems or anything like that.
Okay. There's lots of questions you're giving to each other, and I think that keep having that conversation, because I think we all want to voice our fears. We'll try and get to all these questions at the end. Next thing, Shabir, that we should be doing.
So out of the 4 ones, the last thing that I believe, and again we've talked about this all the time, is the vitamin D.
Yeah.
So how does vitamin D work?
And this is also a liposomal vitamin D.
This is a unique form of vitamin C. It's a sublingual form.
Sublingual. I'm sorry. So you spray in your mouth.
It in your mouth, under the tongue or at the side of the cheeks, and the vitamin D is absorbed. See, this sort of vitamin D avoids the gastric route. So the gastric route is always a compromised route. When things go through the stomach, we have highly acidic stomach, and that can deactivate quite a bit of the nutrients and things like that. So what we try to do is to try and get, wherever possible, sublingual forms or liposomal forms. This one is unique, as we said before. And what vitamin D does is, the Danish scientists found that vitamin D is required to ensure that those healthy blood cells, so remember we talked about probiotics, identified the organisms which need attacking. But in order for those white blood cells to attack the pathogens or viruses or whatever, vitamin D is required, and a deficiency of vitamin D means those white blood cells remain dormant.
Okay, so we want to activate them.
We want to activate those white blood cells. There's no point in them circulating around and engulfing the odd bacteria or virus or whatever. We want them fully active for when there is an infection. Hopefully we don't get one, but if we do have one, then yes, we're ready to.
Some people are throwing in their views on certain things. I just want to say them now when we're in that conversation, going back to prebiotics. Somebody says prebiotics work best if you first cleanse the parasites and worms, otherwise it's just food for them. What's your take on that from Lisa?
We're talking probiotics.
Yeah.
There is a small amount of prebiotic in there, but the prebiotics, they're right. Prebiotic can be a source of food for pathogens in the gut. But as long as you're putting in a sufficient amount of billions of bacteria, then those pathogens in the gut are not going to thrive.
Okay.
It's always a balance. What probiotics do is they release an acid called lactic acid.
Yeah.
You've heard of lactic acid
for
skin, etc.
Yeah.
Well, they produce lactic acid, and lactic acid inhibits pathogens in the gut.
Okay.
So the more good bacteria you have,
the more,
the less the
it doesn't matter if
pathogens
there's
will.
a few bad. Okay.
No.
Another one just on that subject, because I want to actually get through. There are so many questions. Shabir, do you prefer self-stable or fridge-stable broad-spectrum probiotics, and taken with or without food?
Okay, so I prefer a broad-spectrum probiotic for general health, for sure. I think it's good always. I think it's good always to. I think it's good always to refrigerate probiotics once you've opened them.
Yeah, even these ones here.
These ones here, these mega probiotic.
Yeah.
So even these ones here, I prefer to put them in the refrigerator once open, because obviously heat does affect them. Now, normally 22 degrees is fine, because remember they're actually surviving at 37 degrees.
Because we're warmer in that tummy.
In the tummy, yeah.
Okay.
So normally it's fine. I just tend to prefer them to refrigerate.
And just reading out the probiotic, it's mega probiotic from VH.
Yeah, mega probiotic, and so it's a non-dairy, gluten-free, allergen-free probiotic with 8 strains. So you're talking about the 2 biggest strains of probiotics. They're called L-Acidophilus Plus and Bifido. These are the most studied strains when it comes to immunity.
Okay. One lady, Parul, is saying, I've been diagnosed with CVST. Can I take probiotics and any anti-stress tablets?
There's no reason why you can't.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we'll keep going. I hope you can still see. Hypothyroid disease. What about probiotics? Do they do more harm?
No. Okay. No, they have no impact on the thyroid gland.
Yeah.
They're not. They're working to produce these antibodies. They're not actually attacking your thyroid gland or anything like that.
Great. I'm going to just say, I'm going to hold the products up again. They are probably back to front.
Should we start?
So yeah, I'm going to start with the the one at the beginning, and you read it out as I hold it up.
So
Sorry, this is starting from the beginning of the product.
So this is called Terra Nova Life Drink. Terra Nova Life Drink is the full spectrum multivitamin, mineral, green food, fruit extracts, probiotics, and omega essential fatty acids all together in one drink.
I'm going to say for now, Shabir has all of these at victoriahealth.com. If you don't wish to buy them all from one place, you can go online and look them up.
And that is Liposomal Vitamin C in a sachet form, so it's very portable. My recommendation for that product is 2 sachets a day at the moment.
Okay, great. And the probiotic I did, and the vitamin.
And
this
vitamin
is Better You Deluxe.
Again, we
3000.
featured the Deluxe 3000
We
on
have
several
yeah,
videos
we have.
with you.
I want to just say this now because a lot of people are talking about this, and I just want to register with you so we can come back to it. Is about dealing with the stress of what's going on and what you can do to help that. We'll just talk about that at the end, shall we? Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we go on to the next one? Because this is one that you're going to bring out now, which I was very excited when you told me why it was interesting to take.
Right. So
yeah.
there are many people who may want to supplement extra, or there are people who may be more prone to or have a greater chance of infections. For example, people with a compromised immune system, people who are working in the healthcare systems, things like that. They're going to be more prone to infection. So what I have brought along here is an amino acid called lysine.
Yep. I'm going to put that up. Sorry, this is
up.
Lambert's L-lysine, 500 milligrams.
Now, lysine has been studied extensively for its ability to prevent and to treat the cold sore virus. So lysine,
when you say the cold sore virus, what do you mean by that, Shabir? Because I'm not.
The HSV1 virus. So basically, people who end up with cold sores.
Oh, the cold sore virus. I'm so sorry. Yes,
yeah.
the cold sore virus.
Yeah. So what we found is lysine displays antiviral properties. So it can be used to treat a cold sore, a viral infection like a cold sore infection. It's even been linked to helping people with Epstein-Barr virus, the chronic fatigue.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Right. So lysine displays antiviral properties, but interestingly, lysine can also be used to prevent the cold sore virus, and it does so by blocking the food called arginine. For viruses to replicate, for any virus, they need some sort of a food source. How do they replicate? And like bacteria, viruses tend to use arginine. So it follows that we're not talking about specifically the coronavirus, but we're talking about the fact that it follows that since viruses need arginine generally to replicate, the use of lysine may be justified just to prevent possibly some viral infection.
Okay, I'm taking.
And I'm not talking.
How many a day are you saying a day?
You can take up to 4.
Okay, I'm going to do a few questions.
It's got to be on an empty stomach.
Empty stomach. All right. I just want to do a few things because people here. I have fibromyalgia. Can I take them?
You can most definitely take the supplements.
Okay. How much do you take more?
Because what we're doing here is supporting the immune system. We're not stimulating the immune system.
All right.
There are certain herbs like echinacea we know tend to stimulate the immune system, and if you have an autoimmune disease, then you're going to make your autoimmune disease possibly worse. We're stimulating. We're supporting it, not stimulating.
So could you just say categorically, and if you feel not comfortable, tell me that, is there anyone who shouldn't be taking what we have already mentioned for a medical condition?
I think you should always check if you've got a medical condition.
Very difficult
always
to get hold of your doctor right now. Sorry, when you say that. Do you see what I mean? It's like, I don't want to
I don't have any problem with a probiotic. I don't have any problem with a multi-nutrient drink.
Yeah.
I really don't think vitamin C will create any problems, generally speaking. At all.
Do you think if you smoke, you should take more vitamin C?
I think if you smoke, you definitely need more vitamin C. For sure.
If you take thyroxine and omeprazole, I take omeprazole. Well, I've stopped taking it actually because Shabir put me onto other things to deal with bad indigestion. Yeah. But can you still take these?
You can.
Okay, thank you.
As we said before, the vitamin C is not going to cause you problems with acid reflux.
Okay, great. All right, we're going to go on to the last product now, and then we're going to talk about stress, and we're going to talk about just general well-being. Yeah, thank you.
So the last product is zinc, because zinc is now in favor, and what zinc does is it tends to keep the inflammation down. So when our immune system is fighting off an infection, you end up with inflammation within the body. Now, inflammation, if left unchecked, can be lethal.
Yep.
Can be very dangerous. So what zinc does is it tends to keep that inflammation at bay. So our body can carry on fighting whatever it's fighting, whatever type of infection it's fighting. Sorry.
Okay. And this one you've got here is from Terra Nova, and it's zinc, 15 milligrams. How many a day, Shabir? One.
Just one a day. Now, the reason for picking this zinc over something else is because all the other zincs require you to have a high acid content in your stomach.
Okay.
You've just mentioned, for example, that you're taking omeprazole. Well, omeprazole would be reducing your acid down. For example, you've had that before. And a lot of people suffer with acid reflux and various gastrointestinal problems. Of course, as we age, we produce less acid. So taking in something like a zinc citrate or supplement will mean that we won't be maximizing zinc out of it.
Yeah.
Whereas with this one, it's got zinc bisglycinate, which is a very, very easy salt to break down to release the zinc that we require.
Okay. Great. A few things here. Can we take them all at the same time, these supplements?
You can indeed.
Would you take them at different times? Do you take them all before food? I mean, I know the L-lysine is on an empty stomach.
The L-lysine has to be on an empty stomach.
To work.
With the deluxe, it's simply a spray in the mouth. With the other lot, it's better with some sort of food.
Okay.
Vitamins and minerals work more efficiently with food because when you eat food, your stomach signals all your digestive enzymes to be ready. So when your digestive enzymes are ready, you assimilate more.
Okay. Can we give these to our children?
Again, children, no problem with deluxe. I mean, you would be looking at 1,000 units and not 3,000 units.
So is there one for children?
There is 1,000 units,
for children.
And there's one even lower down for juniors.
Juniors meaning up to 3 years old?
Up to 6.
Up to 6. So that from like one,
there's an infant one.
There is an infant one.
From infants, meaning 0 to 3.
Yeah.
And there's a junior one, 3 and upwards up to.
And with the other supplements, Shabir, for children, do you think there's child-free versions, or would you do a smaller dosage, and what's a minimum age you feel comfortable?
With a life drink product like Life Drink and multivitamin, there are children's vitamins available, but if you just are going to use that, then you're going to halve the dosage down.
Okay. Somebody's saying, what about L-Arginine? Are you saying this feeds a virus?
L-Arginine is supposed to be the food for the virus, so you tend to avoid foods containing L-Arginine. And you tend to...
what kind of foods contain L-Arginine?
Fish.
Fish, really? Yeah. You're saying to us...
I'm not saying that...
Are you seriously saying we shouldn't be taking fish?
No, I'm not saying not to take fish, but someone who's going to have lots and lots of fish ongoing could, if you had, for example, a cold sore, they tell you when you have a cold sore, don't eat too much fish.
Okay. That's a big statement, because there are many people here who don't eat that much meat, and it's fish, so we might come back to that. I mean, I think there might be part 2 and part 3 if we can. Can Shabir explain about echinacea, as I have been using this to help my immune system and I now have a tickle cough?
Echinacea is perfectly safe to boost the immune system, but where echinacea has a question mark on it is where there is an autoimmune disease. So autoimmune diseases are things where the immune system is attacking its own tissues, rheumatoid arthritis, for example. And so if you are going to, how should I put it, stimulate your immune system using certain herbs like echinacea, there is a probability that you may stimulate your autoimmune concern.
Fine. So you were
but people without an autoimmune concern, by all means, take echinacea. It does display immune boosting properties.
Are these all right for type 2 diabetes?
They are perfectly safe.
Okay, thank you. I have lupus. Can I take these?
Again, lupus is not an issue here.
Okay. Can't we get zinc from food, vegetable seeds, nuts, beans? I think we want to talk about what you get from food and why.
I mean, zinc, as you know, zinc-rich foods, for example, oysters are rich in zinc.
Yeah.
We know that various seeds and nuts are rich in zinc. Pumpkin seeds are great for zinc.
So if you have access to these things...
Absolutely. It's just a question of have you got access to all the foods currently. My
son has CP and epilepsy. Can he take these to help his immune system?
I think he would definitely be thinking in terms of the first 3 that I mentioned, which was the Life Drink and the Vitamin C and the Probiotic.
But not the L-Arginine?
Not the L-Arginine.
Okay, that's good. Trinny, when you show us the bottles, the writing on them is back to front. I know, that's why we're speaking what the products are. We will tomorrow list these products, but at the end I will show them all again. Justine, if you take the life drink, what else should you take with it, or does it have everything you need? We've talked about the other things. But if somebody just was on a budget, Shabir, that's the other thing. These, the life drinks.
It would definitely be on a
Terra
budget.
Nova life drink. I don't know how many you've got, Shabir, but I think they might be going. Okay,
and
great.
you get a scoop in there, just one scoop, mix it with juice or water.
I'm trying to get through as many questions as I can. I appreciate you're all really concerned about different things. And we will post the products tomorrow.
I noticed there was a question as celiac, is that considered an autoimmune disease? I mean, if you're in doubt, by all means, as I said before, these supplements that I've just talked about will not affect an autoimmune concern.
Is it L-lysine or lysine?
Some people call it lysine, some people call it L-lysine.
Can you do them when you're breastfeeding?
I would have no hesitation with
that. So breastfeeding, that would be all right.
Always check.
Yeah, okay. It's, as I said before, harder to check now.
Vitamin D would be 1,000 units is considered perfectly safe during breastfeeding.
What about if you're taking Warfarin?
Warfarin is a blood thinner. None of these really have blood thinning properties.
Thank you. As a celiac, am I included in the autoimmune conditions? We just did that, I'm sorry. If you have an autoimmune disease but you aren't currently on any medication, are you still prone to flare up provided you contract COVID-19? I have psoriasis.
Sorry, I missed that.
So she said, if you have an autoimmune disease but you aren't currently on any medication, are you still prone to flare up provided you contract COVID-19? Your immune system's down, so it's like it's not going to fight everything in your body. And just lots of people saying thank you, Shabir, by the way. I just want to say the products will be listed tomorrow. Thank you very much. I have no large bowel. Are these all capsules form or tablet form, as I can't absorb capsule? We've mentioned a lot of things here that are liposomal and powders, so you can put them in a drink. Can you put them in a hot drink?
I wouldn't.
Okay. Elderberry Syrup, which we love. It's by Pucker and Shabir sells it on the site, and I took it during the time I was ill. My 11-year-old has juvenile arthritis. Can she take elderberry syrup? Because it's going to have things in it that maybe are for arthritics.
It's got honey in there, if I remember. Yeah. Vaguely.
Which is not so. You have to be a bit careful.
Yeah.
Any problem taking letrozole and blood pressure tablets? Can you take these with
you can take these with blood pressure medications.
Okay, thank you.
Can a type 1 diabetic take echinacea? Yes,
I could not understand Shabir's answers. Anyone got it? I think it's important. I'm going to watch this again, everyone, because Shabir has given us so much information with incredible experience behind it that it's really worthwhile just going back at the end and watching this again. Stress. Let's talk about stress. I think it would be great. I know that, there are people in my circle of friends and obviously my staff who are really stressed, and there are people who are like, I'm going to come in the office next week, and it's how can we, in a way, very difficult to say this, but not let the stress affect our physical health. So what can we do, Shabir, calm, download calm?
It's very easy for me to say these things, but obviously it depends on the individual's chemistry and everything else. But definitely you have to try and calm down. Meditation, breathe deeply, maybe take some gentle exercise at home. Yeah. Because exercise is a great stress-busting thing.
Just going to say, I'm going to ask Sanjay if he will do a meditation with us. I'm going to try and get in the room or by split screen that we can do some guided meditation specifically around the feelings we might be having about the fear for our family, the fear, my mum, as I mentioned this on Friday, my mum is actually in isolation hospital being tested for corona. We won't know until Monday or Tuesday. For my sister and I, that is stressful. I think anyone who's got family members being tested or they're just about to be tested themselves, it is very stressful. If you have friends who have passed away, that is just obviously catastrophically sad. But keeping a sense of feeling calm and having some mindfulness. Otherwise, I think we could be reading the Mail online every 15 minutes and feeding our sense of panic and fear. And there is, I think, understandably, we do have, I speak to friends in Italy and I read what's happening in Italy. It is the same for them. but then I see that sort of spirit arise out of any kind of catastrophic situations like this. So luckily we're getting a bit of both, but
I mean, stress from a scientific point of view. So from a scientific point of view, stress causes the adrenals to release corticosteroids. Now, you know what corticosteroids are. They're to suppress the immune system.
Okay, so say that again, because this is like if you're thinking, oh, shall I bother with a bit of mindfulness? Listen to you saying that again.
It's absolutely vital to counter the stressful situation.
So if you're stressed, what happens to your body?
What happens to your body is that the adrenals release a whole plethora of what we call corticosteroid hormones. And corticosteroids suppress immunity. They suppress the production of white blood cells. So if your white blood cells are diminished, you're going to be more prone to infection. So it's absolutely important to counter the effects of stress.
Okay.
So as I said, calm. I think you're going to do the meditation, anything like that. That's going to help. As I said, gentle exercise at home. Whatever, you've got to try and tackle the symptoms of stress.
It is, we are all in a position where we could be looking after family members. In this situation, the most important thing is to look after yourself first, even if you're a mum, because you want to be well, or you're a dad. It's look after yourself so that you can be strong and look after other people, if that occurs,
Yeah, absolutely. And sleep.
And sleep.
Sleep is absolutely, we know that sleep is vital to our health. We know that without proper sleep we can't function properly. But what actually happens with reference to sleep and immunity? So if we have say 8 to 10 hours of sleep, that's not going to confer us with extra immunity, that's for sure. But a lack of sleep will definitely affect our immune system. Why is that? So the reasoning is that during sleep our bodies produce a compound called cytokines, and cytokines are what encourages white blood cell production as well. So during sleep we're producing white blood cells ready to attack the foreign the next morning, whatever's going to try and attack.
Shabir, I think at this stage, I mean, I want to discuss what you do if you've got it, but I slightly feel that's another film, and I think it's time for you to to think about these things, because it could be that soon we're talking to an audience of people where quite a few people watching have got it, and it's is there anything you can do to alleviate your symptoms? And I'd love you just to think about that for us, and hopefully we can do another one. We might be doing it on a Google Hangout, and I'll have a screen with Shabir here, but what we want to do is keep broadcasting information that will help us all to be well in our head in facing what's in front of us. If you've got questions and you're on a medical condition, you can't get hold of your doctor to find out, can you take what we're talking about, then email at Victoria Health.
Literally go onto the Victoria Health site, you'll see an icon, live chat, leave the message on, and we aim to, often we do that within 2-3 hours, if not earlier, sometimes minutes.
Just so unbelievably helpful, Shabir, and I just got to say, there's nobody I'd wish to talk to more right now than you, because it's just about keeping well and thinking we're doing everything we can do.
I mean, as I said, the government's already given us
all the hand washing. I mean, this is like, we know about, the hand washing, sanitizing, that's a given. The phone, I'm not going to do on this one how to work from home. We'll leave this for another day. I just want to thank everyone for watching. I wish you all stay safe, and we're sending you all our love.